another response video to Joe. Might as well keep up the conversation. I mean, I want to beat this dead horse, but we really have nothing else. We have to be able to persuade each other. It's the only way anything's going to happen in this world is that somebody's going to come up with the magic words. Everybody will say, "Oh, I get it now. I see what you're saying." Obviously, it doesn't do any good with Nick, because Nick is, there's no solution. Nobody's saying anything about a solution. It's inconceivable there could be a solution, which in my opinion is just plain crap. And so it becomes useless. No point in seeing a problem you can't fix. Yeah, this is a fixable problem. We can save millions of lives. We can prevent huge, untold human suffering if we can just come up with the persuasive language. And yeah, I'm terrible at that, because I just want to say, "Fuck you, you cunt," and kick people in the balls. I mean, I'm just so sick of the bullshit. But anyway, so let me try another tactic, another angle to look at this from. Again, you're still arguing that the debt comes first, and that creates the money. I'm going to argue the claim of ownership comes first. Somebody makes money on a stock. They take that profit and they say, "I want to invest it. I want to collect interest on it. I want it to make money for me." And so then they buy up. They find debt to buy. They find some business to buy. Some business to say, "Yeah, I'll give you money. You give me a percentage of your company." Or some individual to say, "I'll give you money. You give me a percentage of your life. You give me a percentage of your future earnings. You give me a percentage of something." And that's how money is created. The asset comes first. The house comes first. The loan on the collateralized house comes second. So I just don't, this debt money system thing just doesn't work for me, because it's all transactions are in a way debt. They are trading something you have to sell, and part of what we sell is intangibles and stuff that are we're selling our capacity to pay for it in the future. But anyway, I won't even get into that. So I mean, the fundamental premise of the argument is that somehow there wasn't collateral for what was borrowed, and there was in the banking system. So most of what it did wasn't bad. What goes on in the stock market is the true evil, because that's where the real value is. 90% of the value is a future production. More than 90% is future production. Has anything to do with the current asset. And so all those evaluations, all that money, that paper money, that stuff is deeds. Those deeds are bullshit deeds. The house deeds are good deeds. There's a real house there. Okay, the stock deeds are bullshit deeds, because there's no 20 years of labor. There's no 20 years of human productivity. That is the value of that crap. And so that's what screws up these whole GDP numbers. That's what screws up this whole perception of a booming economy. We're not booming. We're doing okay, but we're not. The growth hasn't been what it's claimed to have been, because those growth numbers have incorporated into them evaluation, acceptance as real stuff that hasn't been produced yet. So it's nonsensical. All right, so I'm not going to, whatever, I guess we're going to have to argue that crap back and forth, and we just keep finding different ways to say the same thing to each other. But I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else to make the argument. I'm unpersuaded by your argument that fixing the banking system fixes the problem. No friggin' way, in my opinion. Doesn't change the ownership equation, and that's the real problem, is the conversion of stuff into surplus, into stuff people hold for to make money, stuff that must make more stuff in a sense. Stuff's got to be consumed for producers to produce more stuff, and when stuff isn't consumed, when it's used as investment capital, that's when things can tend to go wrong, and we're tended to go wrong right over the cliff. All right, so anyway, I'll just get to the new angle. All right, let's say we could take all the stuff in the world, all the manufacturing businesses, all the stocks and bonds, every single valuable piece of stuff, all right, and we could assess its value and divvy it up per person on the planet Earth. I would claim, I mean, we don't have these numbers. I wish we did, but I don't think we have them anywhere. I would claim that the average person would get $500,000 worth of stuff. I mean, they could choose to have $200,000 of house, $100,000 of stuff in the house, computers and furniture and bullshit, and then they could choose to own, with the other $200,000, some stocks and some bonds and some other parts of our economy. And that's the real world. So instead of the masses being poor, they would be actually very rich, because we have, in fact, produced a lot, the Chinese especially. They've produced a lot of value. And if we truly divided that value up and gave it to individual humans, we are all extremely well off. But what has happened is that that ownership has all consolidated in hands of people who want to gain interest on it. And my point is that if we divvied it up and gave it to people, we can all still work, we can all keep our jobs, we can all keep consuming, the equation doesn't change any. Everything keeps functioning. It's the rich that are going to break the system. They're the ones who are going to say, I won't finance business anymore because it won't give me a profit. I won't finance production. I won't finance consumption because I can't make money off it anymore. And so it won't happen anymore. But there's nothing, I made the point in the comments, the limiting factor for consumption is the capacity of producers. That's the only thing that limits how much you can consume, is how much we can produce. If there's only two people on Earth, the only thing that's going to limit the other guy's consumption is how much I can produce. All right? That's the only theoretical limitation. There's no other limitation. So there's no such thing as overconsumption. Overconsumption is you can't eat more fish than there are in the ocean. Okay? So there's just no possible way to ever overconsume, because your consumption's going to stop where the limitations of production end. And obviously we're nowhere near the limitations of production, because we have a huge segment of the human population that's underemployed. We can produce even more. We can consume even more. So that's just nonsense. And the only thing that's stopping it is because we have this mechanism that forces every transaction to go through the hands of these rich fucking owners. And again, I'll make the point. If we took the real value that's out there and gave it to the human beings, there's a lot of value out there. Give it to the people, let's call them, instead of the elites, the rich, the fuckers, the bastards who have ruined everything. So there was another point I wanted to make, but well, I can wait till next time. It will be a next time and a next time and a next time. Yeah, I know it's there, but I just can't remember it. So that's enough for this video. We'll throw it in there next time.